How's it going, everyone? Decided to do another video, this time talking a little bit about my gaming regrets and some of the things that I could have done differently in my life. And I'm going to be walking you guys through 10 things that I wish I had done differently. And I know I'm starting off the year with something negative, but thought it would be a unique story to tell. And let's begin. The first thing that I want to talk about is I wish I had gotten into the battle royale genre. And I know, let me explain. What I mean is I see all of this buzz and hype around Fortnite and Apex and all of these live service games that have constant content drops. And Fortnite today has become this big gaming hub for cross IP collaboration. I mean, nothing even comes close when it comes to these large scale events that are happening inside the game, pop culture icons being introduced into the game. There's so much that people growing up over these years have to look up to, when it comes to enjoying Fortnite and, getting to see your favorite characters, favorite pop culture icons in your game. That would have been so cool to live and experience. But sadly, I'm at that point of time in my life where the multiplayer, skill ceiling has gone through the roof, and the amount of time and effort it takes to get to a point where you can enjoy Fortnite or any other battle royale is just crazy. Like, imagine getting to enjoy the Titanfall 2 parkour and movement mechanics in a multiplayer game that's free to play. I mean, what more can you ask? But again, that train has kind of gone way too far, and it's hard to catch up. So that's one of the first regrets that I want to talk about. The second regret that I want to talk about is I spent a lot of my early gaming years playing on these knockoff and jailbroken consoles. I used to frequently go to my friend's house and use Nero Burner to burn like ISO images onto regular DVDs and play on my modded PS2. But the problem is, half the time the games would just stop midway, or the save files would get corrupted, and it was just not a smooth experience. So I don't have the same kind of nostalgia for PS2 and that era, because I was playing on like modded consoles and the experience was never good, because I tried to get these games for as low as cost as possible, and that meant using these modded consoles. And maybe it was the particular unit that I had and it was not really working as intended, but I wish I had waited, gotten like a legitimate copy of the game and an authentic console to play on, and I would have enjoyed the entire PS2 game library the same way that a lot of people have nostalgia for it. I don't have that because I regret playing on a jailbroken console. Coming to the next regret, I think I was way too much invested in consuming content around games than actually playing them. I mean, I remember I used to make these frequent trips to these old city markets for finding and hunting down gaming magazine issues. I would find old Nintendo Powers or Computer Gaming World and PC Gaming Magazine. All of those magazines, I used to hunt them down for a cheap price. I used to get those copies for older issues and would come back home, circle the games that were interesting to me, and go later down to the cyber cafe and search up those games. I feel like I wasted a lot of time just reading about games and playing them. I had access to a computer. I could have found out ways to play and enjoy those games, but I did not, and I was more invested in the culture and the media around games. So I feel like that's something that I wish I had done differently, and I would have been able to enjoy a lot of these older titles, because frankly at this point of time, if you go back to many of these old titles, the mechanics or the art design might not have aged well enough. So that's one of the things that I wish I had done differently. The next regret that I want to talk about is a little interesting one. I became really crazy about the eSport scene in Starcraft. I used to go down and look up rising popularity of Starcraft in South Korea and all over Asia, in fact, and how these eSport stars were being treated as cultural icons, and they had these boot camps where people would train all day, and I was just so hooked onto it. It almost was a fast food addiction. I almost went in on a weekly basis, tried to find out what's happening new in that esports scene. At the back of my mind, I always wanted to get involved in that somehow. I even enrolled myself in some leagues and got into the private ladders. There used to be this website called Gozu Gamers. It used to be a hub for Starcraft esports news and esports ladders. But again, way too much time invested in to know and read about the culture around this esports game. But again, never really put in the time to train and practice Starcraft. I was hooked on to finding out, what's the actions per minute of this esports star, or how are they using these strategies. But all of this is going to be of no use if you really implement it in the game or in your training regime. That's something that I regret. I wish I had done differently. Who knows, I could have been a Starcraft pro. Just kidding. I don't think I could have ever matched the skill that it takes to become at that level. But hey, it was worth trying, and I wish I had done differently. The next regret that I want to talk about is specifically for Call of Duty multiplayer. I was part of this gaming group in 2014, 15, I don't remember exactly, but they used to play private server matches for Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I used to join them sometimes weekly, sometimes bi-weekly, but I had this weird habit, which they still make fun of it till date, is that I would almost like quit the match once I have my first good kill streak or kill count. I don't know, it was kind of like this mental resistance that I had to continue on the game after I have my first good match. Like, it's almost like I was savoring the moment, or saving that good experience of the match, and I just wanted to stop playing immediately after that. But these guys would go on, continue playing, and they would have more fun moments. It was almost like I had a fear of having a bad match or a bad multiplayer experience. And that goes to show that I was just not ready for a multiplayer experience. I was not somebody who would be very comfortable with the idea of losing a match. But that was something that I wish I had done differently. Stuck around, maybe played more, learned the game, tried to get better. But hey, not everything is for everyone, right? Coming to the sixth regret that I do want to talk about is I had this habit of collecting digital games. And what I mean by that is, very early on, when Humble Bundle was like fairly new, I got addicted to the idea of buying all these bundles. Like, I would go to all lengths to get and acquire all these bundles, which would be, they started off really big. They wanted to acquire more users, so they started off with a bang, like many AAA games, big indie hits, all in for like a cheap price. And I just got hooked onto that consumerism habit. I want to get every single bundle, and my Steam library just became insane. It was at such a point, like after a few years, when I went back and saw that I acquired all these games but never played any one of them, I just became like a crazy person and deleted all those games from my account. Like, I thought I'll have to start fresh, and it's all like wasted money. Now I realize I shouldn't have done that, removed all those games. There's always a moment that you learn things, and for me, I guess I learned it the harsh way, collecting more, not really playing. So I guess that's something that I wish I had done differently. The next gaming regret that I want to talk about is my lack of attachment with my previously owned gaming consoles and physical games. At one point of time, I actually had a Fat PS3 with a real PS2 system inside it. I mean, it's the original model that had that system which could natively play both PS2 and PS3 games. But I was like moving from the southern part of the country to the northern part, and it was a big transition, and I just gave away that system and all those games for such a bargain price to someone. I don't even remember when I did that, but it was something that I'm regretting now, because if I held on to that console, I could have enjoyed all these awesome games and the entire library of PS2 and PS3 era. And I had to like spend so much more money to acquire and reacquire those consoles and games, and it's almost like wastage of money. It's something that I wish I had done differently. I wish I had a more attachment to some of my gaming hardware and physical games back in the day. You realize the importance of some things much further down in your life, and that's something that I wish I had done differently. I'm going to be a little bit liberal with the word gaming about my next point here. It's all about how I never really got over my lack of confidence and nervousness when it comes to playing and enjoying tabletop RPGs. I've been a big fan of things like, Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder, or, Blades in the Dark. And I have a lot of these rule sets with me. But the fact is, I never really played in real life these games. And that's all because, I never got out of my comfort zone to do improv and do real life tabletop role playing. It's just something that I never was confident enough to do. And that's something that I regret. I wish I was a little bit more confident, went out, seeked out some of these groups to play and enjoy these tabletop games. The second last gaming regret that I want to mention is my choices when it came to picking game genres. I was way too comfortable with my choices, and I never really stepped out of my comfort zone and tried new genres, tried new franchises. For example, I completely wrote off immersive sims, visual novels, JRPGs for that matter, very early on when I was playing games. And that led to a very narrow scope of vision when it comes to experiencing these games. And I was a little bit more safe with my choices, only picking like AAA games here and there or some very well-known franchises. So that's something that I wish I had done differently. Tried more, played more, and at least get to be a little bit more diverse when it comes to picking game genres. The last regret is definitely a little bit personal. It's not really a regret, but a fault on my part. And it's about how I never really had a true gaming partner or a gaming buddy, if you can call something like that, who would at least play and enjoy the same kind of games that I play and would be ready to invest the same kind of monetary resources into acquiring these games and game consoles. I do agree it's a fault on my part that I never really seeked out for those kind of people, at least in the age of online socializing. That's why I've mostly been a solo and a single player kind of a guy. But that's something that I wish I had done differently because I didn't really have a lot of people to talk and connect on when it comes to the games that I enjoyed and played. So those were the 10 things that I wanted to talk about. Definitely not saying that I'm not grateful for whatever things I had access to or whatever experiences that I got to enjoy when it comes to gaming. But yeah, sometimes you get to sit and reflect about different, moments in your life, and I thought, why not just talk about it today with you guys. And I would definitely love to know what are some of the moments that you regret when it comes to gaming. Yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I'm definitely trying to stick to a schedule of one video per week, but I'm not gonna promise anything. But yeah, be on the lookout for more such videos on this channel. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.